Mic check, max spit stats like a tactician. Link breaking plays down, surging with precision. Scoob got the jokes, punchlines hitting crisp. Whole squad on the mic, call it audible blitz. Gritter and gospel. We the chapel of the huddle, global reach, Titan speak. Breaking every bubble from the turf to the booth. Knowledge they colossal. Podcast the playbook, no room for apostle. Titans global, we break it, we mold it. Talking pigskin, the truth get unfolded. Max Link School, we the squad, we the clone. Football mind sharp, taking you across the globe. Max drop jams, X's and O's like hieroglyphs. Link dissecting plays, no time for the myth. School, keep it raw. Laugh till you cry, huddle up. Titans talk, no flag, let it fly. Every league, every player, we dissect the grind. From the draft to the field, future stars in line. Whistles blow, helmets clash, stories untold. We bring the heat like cleats burning through the cold.
From kickoff to OT, every snap's a tale. Global Titans, we prevail, never stale.
What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Global Podcast. I'm your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and with me, as always, is neither one of my co-hosts tonight. They both had, like, super, important work stuff, and, everybody works for a living, man. They got jobs. It's important. They had to do stuff. So it's me and my super awesome special guest, Jackson from the Titans Report podcast. I don't know if you guys are living under a rock or what, but if you're not on Twitter, you probably, or Instagram, Twitter or Instagram. I forget about that one. But you probably don't know who this guy is if you're watching me from my Facebook stuff, but jump on one of those and check this dude out because he is a young upcomer. And yeah, really interested. Thank you for having you on, or thank you for coming on my show. And I'll let you take it from there, brother.
Dude, that was a great intro, man. That the start of the video and to just the intro now, man. No, I appreciate you having me on, and no, it's an honor to be on with you guys and to be on the show. I always love joining shows on a Monday evening. It's a great way to start the week. We have a lot to talk about today, and very excited to talk ball and sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and let's talk ball. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, man. So basically, preseason time, it's not that exciting, but it is what it is. And as the Titans players preseason goes, so does my show, because it's my preseason too. We just started doing the two shows a week. My God, I can't talk tonight. 2 shows a week, every week. So it's a little bit more, and yeah, whatever. Anyway, we're talking about mostly what happened in the first week against the 49ers. Wasn't a great game, in my opinion. Wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't great. Right off the bat, I'm going to throw it out there and say it. Cam Ward did not look good. He did not look good. And it wasn't, a young guy trying to figure out his offense or anything like that. It was just bad timing, bad throws, off target. But it's not to say that he's terrible or anything like that. It's just, I hate it. You can't criticize somebody without everybody freaking out and saying that you're, going nuts or whatever. But anyway, what do you think about that? How did you feel about Cam's performance?
Yeah, there's some good starts. I think that 95-yard play drive was a good start. I think that was the really big thing of the night. I think he had some good connections to Ridley and Helm, but he missed a couple. You wanted him to get connected with Wandell. You wanted to see Carnell Tate in there. I think, Max, you brought it up. Accuracy and timing are the biggest thing from Cam Ward. I think he's a little unsettled in that first night, and this is the first time we've seen Cam Ward in a live game setting, and the first time in 2026 since Jacksonville, and I think this is I'm not going to overreact to the first game. I'm not, concerned. I'm going to say he did not play great. I'm going to say that. I'm comfortable to say, Cam Ward did not play great. But this is the time that Cam Ward can get better and improve over the week. Now, obviously, he's bounced back over the last couple of days of practice. But can we see that in a live setting is the biggest thing heading into this week, right? So I think he missed some throws. I think the running game definitely did carry, especially on the offense and all 3 first the drives that he was in there. He needs to get more comfortable. He needs to sometimes needs to take the sack. If that one play where he dropped back, you just need to take the sack. Just take the sack or get rid of it sooner. You need to get the ball out more quicker than he did on that game. I think it was a little more slower. But I think also he needs to understand to trust his offensive line a little bit more. I think that's one of the biggest things is because the offensive line is young. And they got some good guys up there now, and we'll deep dive into it. But I think there's up and down is appropriate word I put at. Not panicking like a lot of the people are, but it's a little concerning. That's your first game out there, 5 for 12, 57 yards. But now I think it's a big test this week against another big defense against Seattle. We'll see how he does this week.
I agree. I think Seattle's defense is. I think this is a very good game because usually the second preseason game is the one that you really look forward to because that's where
Mm-hmm.
everybody's already knocked the rust off and people are trying to delve a little bit deeper into the playbook and make it look a little bit more realistic. And then third week is just you play your starters for like what one series, and then it's all
Yeah.
backups from that point on because you don't want to get anybody hurt.
And,
Um,
and and that's kind of the thing, Max, is we're seeing a lot of these starters get playing time, because a lot of these guys in this roster, right? They brought a lot of guys in, and I'm gonna be honest, some of these guys are still unproven, right? I mean, we're still looking at the guys. We're looking at Jermaine Johnson. We're looking at Femi Aladejo getting some reps. What about on the offense side of the offensive line? We're still wondering about the guard position. So I'm gonna put this out there. I do like seeing the guys in for a handful of snaps, and I think as weeks go on, maybe we're going to see 25 to 30 against Seattle. Maybe we might see maybe 20, something like that. They're going to round that range against Seattle, but I think the 22 snaps, I think it's like 22, 23 they got. I think,
yep.
I think that was the first glimpse of what we've seen. And, he's got to work on some stuff, and we'll see how it does this week. But I do like seeing the starters. It is impressive. Jeffrey Simmons brought up a quote. I listened to Buck Rising's thing on Jeff Simmons, and he's like, I want to go out there and play preseason because I want to be a leader. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? You want to be out there during preseason. You want to get the rust off. You want to, make sure you start off on a hot start. And, it's good to see Jeff and all those guys out there and see him work in the preseason.
Yeah, I'll tell you somebody who shocked me to be playing so much with the starters in the preseason. You already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Carmona, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, just a beast of a man, dude.
Yeah.
And I think you posted about it actually on Twitter. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you post about his pull where he just absolutely annihilated the 49er? Or was that somebody else?
I think I don't
Maybe it
know
was
if
somebody else.
it's somebody else, but no, I know what you're talking about. Carmona's a dude. He is, when I was leaving out to California, I was keeping an eye on it Sunday is when Carmona got a lot of first team reps. And, the first thing that came to my mind is because Robert Saleh says he's like a lot of guys from the third team is going to get first team reps. That's when I thought of. But no, hold on. We saw that on Friday. On Friday night was when all things kind of got going. We saw Carmona into the first team. Cam Ward again had a great first drive. They drove down the field, and what did they do on Thursday? They drove down the field again, and they had a good first drive. Carmona is probably the inside track at starting right guard, and that's what Saleh says. I believe him, right? And he fits exactly what you want as an offensive lineman. He's physical, he's violent, he attacks, he's fast. That's what Robert Saleh wants on your team. And Carmona, even though he's a rookie, he's going to have rookie moments. I know today I think he gave up a sack to Jeff, but it's Big Jeff. You're going to give up a sack or two. It's going to happen, right? But it's a learning moment for Carmona. But the right guard spots really came down to where I think roster cutdown days on the 25th. You're really coming down into these last couple of days, and you're wondering yourself, it was a two-man race for so much time with Slater and Volson. Now
Yep.
Carmona came in the mix, and I think he's probably gonna start this weekend. I think after this weekend, I think he's gonna pry the door right open. I think he's gonna kick the door. I think he's definitely gonna get his way to start. But he's a very physical guard. And Borgonzi, I'm gonna put this out there because I know Borgonzi got criticized a lot about the offensive line in the draft. He drafts gems in the fifth and sixth round of the NFL draft, young offensive linemen who are still developing. Carmona started 56 games, I believe, with the number I looked at. This guy's a starter. This guy has experience. He can play tackle, guard, wherever the heck you need him to go. And I'm excited about Carmona, man. And why not to be excited? And it's again, Max, it's coming down to the wing. You're coming down to the wire. He is probably going to get the start right now. I
Yep.
think I'm banking on that. I think he's going to start today, and he's been really impressive. And I like what I see so far.
Yeah, I really like Carmona, man, and I really thought that Pat Coogan would be making more noise, but like I said, it surprised me that Carmona. I posted the other day that definitely not the fifth round pick I thought was going to get the starting right guard job, but right now I think it's his job to lose.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm not putting this on Volson or Slater, but Wilson's not done great things in preseason. He's looked like a guy that he's kind of catching up to pace. He's been kind of a little more slower. And the
Vanilla.
reason for that is because his injury. He's injured. He's had an injured shoulder, and I think it's taken him a little more while than he is expected to ramp up. And they're banking on him to be the starter, Max. When they sign him, they're like, okay, this guy is probably going to
Yep.
start right away. Carmona's really blown the door open, and he's actually been really impressive. And it's really been absolutely good to see that. And are they totally out of it? No, they're not out of it yet. But man, if Carmona is going to keep getting a lot of first team reps, is going to keep impressing Brasillo, is going to keep pressing Dable, the door is going to keep getting. I think the doors keeps inching more and more every single practice that they keep having. That door is just getting more open and more open and more open as the time gets on. So I'm not ruling out Slater or Bolson, but at the same time, you're kind of getting the sense. I think Carmona's got a 65% chance to start today compared to the 35% at the moment. It's getting up there, Max. It's getting interesting.
I agree. Yeah, I agree, man. The more I see, the more I agree too. I mean, he's putting impressive tape on, that's for sure.
Hmm.
Against, I mean, I guess that I don't think any of the 49ers starters were out there against the first team, but it's still, I don't know. We'll find out this week. I think there'll be a much better talent evaluation this week than there was last week.
Hmm.
But the corners, man, the secondary, corners especially, the safeties weren't terrible. As a matter of fact, shout out to Kendall Brooks. I really feel
Yeah,
like he put some really good tape in
yeah.
on week one.
Hmm.
Really impressive kid. But the corners, yeah, they did not look good, dude. Flott especially, man, he looked borderline bad, man. I mean, he was getting torched out there. I felt like going, dude, throw Michael Robinson out there. He probably, I don't
And
know. I was, mm, mm.
so I'll start with Flott, then I'll go to Micah Robinson because I'm glad you brought up Micah real quick. I think to start with Cordell Flott and Alontae Taylor, man, they need to play more tight. They were playing a lot of soft, especially against dribbling. I noticed, and I think they both need to tighten up just a little bit more. And I think it's not just that moment; they've gotten lit up a lot in camp. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a little concerning in the back of my head. I don't know how better it's going to get from right now to the start of week number one. I mean, I'm a little concerned by that position, Max. But you know what? I think timing will get a little more down. I think these guys are learning. I think Lante Taylor has not played outside before, so now him developing into that role is a new role for him. So I'm giving more Alante more than a pass here than Cordell's, I should say, because Alante is still learning a lot on the outside, is taking on big role this year. Cordell Flott, though, it's still a little interesting because he was really solid last year. I think he had above average completion percentage last year. I got to look at the number, but I think he's got to step it up a little bit. He's got to tighten up a little coverage, and I know he's been banged up a little bit this offseason. I know he's had some injuries here and there, but this is the time you got to get caught up, man. This is the time that you got to get going. But we'll see in the next couple days and later on in the weeks how they're going to play that out. I think right now, I think they'll be better. The meter's high, but I'm in the yellow for concern about the secondary. I think it'll get better. I do like Micah Robinson, and I'm glad you brought it up because he had a really good day today. He had 3 pass breakups. He's all over the
He
field. He's
did.
taking second team reps. I mean, he's looking great. And Micah is a guy that when you look at the cornerback room, he's very physical and he's very feisty, and he's a guy that keeps moving around. And he let up one big play to Osborne, but he came right back and made a great play on Mason Kinsey. And he got picked up last year off of waivers. I mentioned this earlier. I mentioned it later too. The depth on this cornerback room is very interesting. And I'm a little bit more interested about the depth more than the starters because I think I know a little more about the starters than I know about the depth right now. Because when you look at the depth between 3 and 5 is very much wide open. Salah said that too, right? So, I think that depth is very much wide open and they've kept a lot of competition. And Keegan Callaghan's made some noise. Joshua Williams is back out there. He still has that yellow jersey, no contact thing, whatever the heck that is, which makes no sense to me when you're out there because you are making plays. But no, I think just all those guys, I think it's going to be an interesting room. They signed somebody today who they're trying to get in there. Najee Johnson just went out, which is disappointing. So I
Yeah.
think over time that I won't be surprised they bring another guy in here and there just to solidify that room, but I think they are starting to get a little bit more comfortable about the secondary. I think they're starting to learn a lot more about it. And I'm glad we brought up Kendall Brooks because he's a guy that's a little underrated too. I mean, he's a little sleeper. I think, heading into camp, who's going to be the starting guys? And Kendall Brooks is going to be a guy in that secondary for depth. And I think another guy I'm going to put out there is Eric Hallett. I think he's a guy to watch too. He's very physical. He's made some nice plays. He's played a lot behind Marcus Harris in the nickel role I've been hearing. So those two guys are definitely keep in mind about to watch also. And I'm going to put one more guy out there just because for the fun of it. I know he's on the third team, but Bishop Fitzgerald has been fun. I mean, he had a pass breakup today. I'm a USC fan, so I'm a little biased, Max. I'm putting a little bias
That's
hat
all
on,
right.
but I like him too. But there's a lot of nice depth here. I think they're just trying to figure out where they land on the depth chart right now. But I'm interested about this depth chart and see how it's going to go the rest of the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, we know who the number one, number two, and number three
Hmm.
guys are. It's everybody after that's really a conversation, and it is pretty much like you said, wide open. I mean, it really is wide open, and it's an interesting thing to watch. I will say this though, the pass rush wasn't fantastic against the 49ers. And I do think, because JFM was held out, I think that's part of it. I
Hmm.
think there's other part of it that goes along with that. Everybody getting into their groove, just like an offensive line, a defensive line has to find their groove too.
Hmm.
Um, but as the defensive line gets better, so will the secondary, because
Hmm.
that's just how it works out. Great defensive line play makes up for secondary that's not great at glue into their target. All you got to do really is guard them for about 20 yards, and then you're good
Hmm.
because somebody's already got through. But yeah, like I said, I think JFM coming back, the big Harrell, man, that
Yeah,
mm,
it's a bummer. I
mm,
saw on the flight. I was like, I gave a big slap to the head, like, oh, I hate to see that. Kanik too, both of those guys. I hate to see that because I had both of them making the roster. A little sneak peek, but no, I'm bummed for Harold, man. Harold's not a starter, but he's a great rotation piece. You're like, okay,
yes,
you can play right behind Jermaine and Femi or Keldrick, wherever the heck his defensive line's going to go. I was a little bummed for Jalen, but he's going to come back stronger next year, man. He's going to come back. I believe I hear this is his last year, so hopefully they bring him
it
back
is.
next year. And yeah, so hopefully they bring him back next year, and they definitely keep him because he's a good rotation piece, man. He broke out last year.
I agree. I really like Jalen Harrell. I hope that he doesn't get away from us, but somebody might pick
Hmm.
him up. I mean, I don't know that he's good enough to start, but I mean, like you said, great rotational piece, man. And he's good
Hmm.
against the pass and the run. So
Hmm.
very all around player. Anyway, running backs. I thought they actually looked great in the week one. If I can say, I didn't
And
see any
positive.
really
You like,
terrible
you like
plays. Yeah.
positive. Yeah.
The only the problem with that is you could follow up with a negative. The only problem with that is three of them haven't been to practice since the game.
Yeah.
So we've got Callow, Mullings, Pollard, and what's the other dude's name? Dang it.
Singleton. Right? Yeah, Singleton.
Thank you. Yes, Nick Singleton. All three of those guys did not, or well, left the game early and then did not return
Hmm.
and haven't returned to practice since then. So that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. It does suck, I mean, obviously we know the RB1 and RB2 this year and we Pollard and Spears, and I've been liking what I'm seeing for Tyjae Spears. He got a great workload today. I think he
Yeah.
had some good moments in practice leading up to it. I think Tyjae just really, really gonna have to stay healthy because he's really been looking impressive, and that's the thing for Tyjae. If you stay healthy, I think he's gonna have a good year. But when you look at the backup depth of this line, excuse me, the running backs, I love Singleton. I've been a huge fan. I've been on the Nick Singleton train forever. I can put that out there now. I've been on that train for a long time. And he's a guy that made some good burst, right? The Chuchi, he made some good burst, right? I think he had some solid moments against San Francisco. Again, I don't know those two injuries out of the top of my head. I don't think they've been revealed anywhere out there yet. Mullings, we know he has a hip. He's not been out there since the 7th. So it's been 10 days for Mullings. So it's a little bit interesting. We'll try to see if we can get an update tomorrow. Media ask tomorrow morning or afternoon to see if they get an update from him. But as of right now, we don't have an update. But no, Chestnut's made some noise. Carter's made some noise today, and I think there's some really solid runs. And Max, when we were talking about this again, I'm gonna keep bringing up August 25th because that's really the day we're gonna figure out this team or get a huge idea. Or are they going to keep 3 or 4? That's the biggest question. I think it'll be 4. I'm on the 4. I'm leaning to 4. I can see 3, but it's really going to matter how they value Chestnut, Mullings,
Agreed.
Carter. That's really what's going to matter. I think I'm right in the middle between 3 and 4, but when we lead up to that moment, it's really going to matter what these guys behind them do, right? And I mentioned this also. All those guys are basically almost free agents. I mean, besides Singleton and Mullings, if they keep both of those guys are on the only ones who are on contract next year. I mean, we know Pollard and Spears are free agents. Are they going to bring one of them
Yep.
back? Maybe, but it's too early to tell. It's August. We don't know if one of them is going to come back yet. So it is very early to tell. I do like what I've seen from the running back room. It's been very impressive. It's been looking good. And again, part of that is the offensive line had a really good start on Thursday, and I think that was a really good sign. So the running backs have been looking good too.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with most of everything we've seen from the running backs, except for the fact that they're not they're not playing practice
Mm-hmm.
today. Anyway,
And who knows? Who knows, Max? Maybe they might practice either tomorrow or Wednesday next time. We don't know. It's still TBD, so we'll see.
that is true. That is true. I did forget to mention Keldrick Falk when I was talking about the
Mm-hmm.
pass rushers, and that's my bad because Keldrick put on a
Dog.
very quietly put on a good game. That was the crazy part, man. Is even when I watched it the first time, I was like, I noticed, a couple good rushes from him. Didn't quite get there, but they look good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I saw the one run stuff that was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I didn't really pay that much attention. But man, when I went back and I wasn't really, watching the game to watch the game, I was watching the game to try to, actually gauge what was going on with the players and stuff. Keldrick Falk, man. Oh my God, dude. Now I understand. I didn't.
An athlete, man.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't understand why we traded back up into the first round to get that guy until I watched that live game tape. Man,
Mm-hmm.
he's big, he's fast,
Yeah.
and he's violent as hell.
And
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean that's what fits Saul's defense again. And I mean, I was very impressive. I have the notes: 3 total tackles, 2 run stops, and 1 quarterback pressure. The thing about Keldrick is he's another development piece on this defense, and Saul has done a pretty good job in his years from the Jets to the Niners to back and forth to develop defensive pieces. And I trust Saul on this one, right? And Max, I'm with you. It's a little interesting they traded back into the first round. I thought that was the end of the night. I left the stadium. I'm heading on the 65 home Nashville. And I was like, oh, the Titans are back on the clock. I'm like, oh, is this for an edge? Is this for, where are they going? Because there's a ton of edge prospects. And, they did want a solidified edge somewhere in this draft, and they wanted to draft it high. They needed to bring in some homegrown talent because they've been struggling at finding edge help. So I think just for them to bring in homegrown talent. Now, am I going to say Keldrick Falk is going to be Rookie of the Year? No, but I think he's a project. I think he's a work in progress. We know what he can do with the run game. He's a strong run defender. We know what he can do. We mentioned Max, big, strong, physical. The pass rush is definitely in development, and I think, this year, I'm excited to see what he can do this year, man. I think there's some good things from Keldrick. I think he is a guy that can potentially get 4 to 5 sacks. And I think that's a good start because he only got 2 last year at Auburn. So I think you just see some productive of Keldrick. Again, these guys are going to rotate a lot. So you're going to see a lot of him probably, on the 3rd down, 2nd down. So you're going to see a lot of him in there. And I'm very excited to see what he can do this year.
Yeah, if I was a rookie and I got drafted into Robert Saleh, if I was a rookie defensive player, let me rephrase that, and I got drafted into Robert Saleh's team, I'd be so freaking excited, but I'd be even
Mm-hmm.
more excited. The only position that can be more excited than defense than edge is linebacker because I think that's his specialty is making great linebackers. And
Mm-hmm.
now he has some really good looking linebackers. Anthony Hill played a really good game. I thought he did very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And either Anthony Hill or James Williams is going to take Barton's job very soon. I call it a wild take, whatever. Barton just does not look good in the preseason or the practices that I've seen. He's looked mostly flat-footed in coverage, which is supposed to be his specialty.
Right.
And I don't. I'll be honest with you, man. Ever since last season started, the regular season,
Mm-hmm.
and to this point, I have been unimpressed with Barton. Now, talk to me last training camp. Oh my God, I was gushing over the dude. I couldn't wait to see the kind of havoc he was going to wreak on quarterbacks. It just didn't, I
It
don't
didn't
know.
click. It didn't click.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting to see where the linebackers go this year. I do think Cody's going to start the year for right now, though. But again, the leash is going to be short. I think the leash is not going to be not. There's not going to be a very long leash. I think he'll start September 13th. But how long is he going to start? I think Hill's going to be right in the middle of that. I think Hill's going to play right behind him. I think he's going to be learning from Parton, and then he's going to take that next leap, and then he's going to start. Right, the Titans young. They have a ton of young linebackers. Excuse me, they have a ton of young guys, and with James Williams, I think everybody was kind of talking about, is he going to be cut candidate? What's this and this? No, I think he's a guy that's going to definitely make some noise, and he's done a great job, man. He's a guy that's literally looked physical. You can play special teams, you can play anywhere you want him to. He's done a really good job just being a big role player on this defense. A fourth line, it's crazy. This fourth linebacker is one of the one really really solid guy in this depth chart. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, we have talent everywhere in the linebacker room, and James Williams. It's really going to matter between Muhammad I guess they say this
Diabetes.
name wrong. Diabetes. Yes, I keep saying this name wrong. So it's me, him, James, Cody, Ant, Cedric. Cedric Gray again. Just gonna take another leave. Just gonna mention him too. I think now heading to year number 4, I think he needs to get better with the pass games a little bit more right with his coverage. I think he needs to get a little more better with that. But besides that, I mean, we know what he can do with the run defense. I think he's done a really good job. He's a great tackler, great tackle for loss guy. He's gonna blitz a lot this year. I think you're going to use that will linebacker spot just to blitz a little bit more. You can use that for Anthony Hill as well. So the linebacker spot is one to watch, and I think it'll be Cody into unproven. And I agree with you. He didn't have some great moments last year. He led us to a couple plays on fourth down, and I think it was a little disappointing what he just did last year. But maybe Max is a hypothetical. Maybe he shocks us by week 1. But I do think Anthony Hill is going to get in there somewhere, and I'm very excited to see him because Anthony Hill's been a dog, man. He's been out there and
Yeah.
he did a good. He's been really good. He looked great a couple days ago, and he looked great in practice today. He's really physical and flying around the ball, and I like what I see from him too.
Yeah. And I mean, you were talking earlier about, do you keep 3 or 4 running backs? And I'll be honest with you, I've been talking about the Titans for a while now, and I've never had this problem before. But we have so many different positions that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receiver, we're going to keep
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
Tight end, are we going to keep 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Linebacker, we're going to keep 5 or 6. I mean, there are so many different
Mm-hmm.
positions right now that
Exactly.
people are. I mean, when you see roster predictions, I'm sure they're going to vary to a almost weird or wild degree, because I believe there are so many good talents on this team that are right on the edge or right on the bubble,
Mm-hmm.
that I think a lot of people are just going to have different opinions on who they rather prefer than. But it's a really good problem to have, and I'm really happy that the Titans have that problem
No,
right
I
now, because
agree.
it's not something we're used to.
And you mentioned the wide. I'll break down wide receivers. We have so much talent at wide receiver. It is incredible when you look at it from top to bottom. And for me, it was like I know sure you're on the Jeremiah Love train too, Max. But Jeremiah Love or bust, right? But no, they surprised us with Cardinal Tate. But I'm looking at the wide receiver depth chart right now, just real quick. Calvin Ridley is still there. Again, it's the same thing with Barton. How long is he going to be here? What's the progress with him? I think this is his last year for Calvin. But Alec Iamanners looked really good. Again, he's done a really good job in that offense, done really good in training camp, and he looks. Heck, some say he looks better than Calvin Ridley, and I don't think they're wrong at all. I think he's done a really good job. Alex, a very physical receiver. Alex has all the traits. I mean, gosh, if you've seen that guy, I've seen a picture of him. He's all muscle. He's the guy that spent most of his offseason in the weight room, and he's done a really good job improving on himself physically. But I think Alex is the guy that's going to take a leap. I won't be surprised if he starts over Ridley at that spot. But Cardinal Tate's going to start on the outside. He's going to be at the Z. He can be floating around anywhere on the XYZ, where the heck is going to go, right? But you're going to float around everywhere. You got one down the slot who knows Brian Dable's system the most out of all these guys. You have DK behind you. The 6 wide receiver spot, man, it's all over. You know, Osborne, Strepo, it's all these guys. It's like a lot of mixing there. And, I'm gonna say this also, what's really gonna matter is that 6 wide receiver spot, it's gonna matter as special teams. The special teams is gonna play a lot into it. That's really what's gonna get you the grand old ticket to get on the train, and that's the last moment, that's the last thing you need to do. So I think right now it's a tough race. Obviously KJ Osborne definitely put himself more today. I think he had a really good catch. I know it's on Tyson's social media somewhere with Mitchell Trubisky. I think he's put himself in there. He put Restrepo. It's a tight race, man. And again, we're coming down in the notch. So we'll see where these go. But I'm impressed with the wide receiver room. These guys all look good. It's really nice to see that from the Titans on this offense, man. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Since you brought up Trubisky, damn it, man. He got hurt. I don't know extent of the injury. I don't think anybody's reported on it yet, but bicep on his throwing arm, which really sucks because that really only leaves Will Levis and maybe Hendon Hooker if we're so lucky. And not that I'm a Vols fan. Y'all know that. I root for the Vols, but only when they're not playing Georgia.
Yeah, the thing about Trubisky's injury we'll talk about real quick. It's a bicep. He threw a pass to DK on the sideline, looked uncomfortable, kind of held his arm like this. It's still TBD. Saleh says he is optimistic he'll be fine, but they'll let us know tomorrow. Obviously that's something to monitor because we're still so far out. But remember, do you rest him this week and do you see what Levis has got? God hope not, but we'll kind of see where that goes, right? Will Levis gets because he got a lot of number 2 reps, right? So it's going to matter if they want to put Levis in there and see what you can do. And I'm going to put this out there because we're going to talk about, I know Levis is going to mention too. I talked about this earlier. They might do a Willis situation where they may play him for the next 2 starts and get a lot of reps out of him. And then maybe they see get a 7-round pick out of him. I don't know if anybody's going to want to trade for him, but if they do, they could be doing that situation. But, again, it's going to come down to see if they really do want to have Will Levis get some reps in. And practice, they're not letting him throw anything. They're not letting Levis throw the ball. They're not, I noticed a lot today that he didn't really throw the football very much. I didn't get 12 passes for 19 yards, but a lot of them were short completions. They're not big. And one of the biggest things is that he's not taking any deep shots really because they know it's like, we're not going to really do that. We're not going to really have Levis throwing these interceptions. So they're being very cautious with him. But, I think the Niners game, he didn't really look good either. And now you're heading to this preseason. Are they going to keep 3 or are they going to keep 2? And it's all over the place, man. And I think Trubisky will be fine. I think he will be okay. I think things will get better. I won't be surprised if he's not out there tomorrow, but if he's out there Wednesday, that's all I care about, and we'll see how much time he misses. But I don't expect him to miss much time.
Yeah, I just don't want to see Levis anymore. Look, I like Levis as a person. I think as like a normal, we're just at a bar somewhere and I run into Will Levis. I bet we would get along great, man, because he seems like a big goofball. I'm a big goofball. We love sports. So, I think we would honestly get along pretty good. But as far as him quarterbacking for my team, no, thank you. Just saying. You want to have a beer, call me. Yeah. say less. But yeah, no, just don't want that really to happen, to be honest. I'd much rather see Hooker play. And I don't really like the Vols, and I don't think Hooker's a great quarterback or anything like that. But I'd rather see him than Will Levis at this point. I think Levis has just burned too many bridges here. And the meme didn't help. You're known for putting those out. those meme-worthy plays, and then you just pull another one right at. Well, I guess that was more in the blue and white game than it was
Yeah.
in week 1. But my point remains, dude. You just can't get out of your own damn way.
My dad always said, Max, is that he just keeps making the same decisions, and you hit your head. You're like, same decisions that you made just a year ago. It's like, what are you doing? It's like my dad and I both talked about it. I'm sitting down in the lower bowl. My dad's sitting up top. My dad's like, did you just do the same play? Will Levis did it again. I'm like, yeah. I mean, he has the arm talent, sure. But the weirdest part to me was when he spoke in the press conference a couple years ago. He's like, "We wire my brain in the second week of the year." It's like, oh, okay. I mean, we're already in the second week of the year. I don't think that's really great to say. And then now you're talking about also with Levis saying there's not 32 quarterbacks better than me, and that goes out on social media. And good for Levis to have confidence in himself, but really, 32? I don't know about. I don't know. That comment was kind of interesting to me. When I heard that comment, I told myself, I'm like, all right, this is probably going to be a meme of something, right? But no, I mean, at the end of the day, again, Max, I'd be very cautious with them, and I don't know what they're going to do with them, man. Gosh, we don't know. It's another question mark what they're going to do with him. We don't know. This is his last year of his deal, technically, so you can trade him away. I know his camp wants him to get traded. I know his camp's like, hey man, we want him to get traded to a fresh start.
Yeah,
Frankly
anywhere.
enough, the kid needs a fresh start. He needs to go somewhere. I thought before the Rams drafted Simpson, that would be a good place in LA to learn behind
Perfect home.
Stafford.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Go behind. He's in California like every week. I mean, he's there all the time. He's in Newport Beach. I mean, heck, you're 45 minutes south of it, right? I mean, just go to LA. So I think that was a good place. Now you're wondering, where can he go next? I mean, that place taken. I mean, do you see Arizona making a wild trade and the Carson Beck, Will Levis show? Do you see that? I don't know, Max. We're still a
Pittsburgh.
long ways. There you go. Maybe Drew Aller, Will Levis, Penn State. Go at it again. Go for it.
Oh yeah, I forgot Drew
Yeah,
Aller.
exactly. Right.
Damn.
So, it's again. I don't know what they're gonna do with the Max. Gosh, it's hard to tell. It's so hard to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. I'll give it up to Link, man, when he had the perfect line after that, because I had to bring that up on the show. And he was like, you want to talk about the best, I can think of 50 better quarterbacks. How about this? I can think of 64 better quarterbacks than you that are in the league. And I was like, well, he has a point, man. I mean, you're not even the second best quarterback on the team. That's maybe not say stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't help your case anyway.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So one other thing I wanted to talk about was, and I think is a really interesting conversation to have. Earlier in practice today, Carnell Tate and Winston got into a major collision. Well, no, I won't say a major collision. They hit really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit really hard. Carnell Tate got shaken up on the play, had to, go to the sideline, whatever, but everybody says he's fine, no big deal. But with that, when I saw that today, I thought to myself for a second, man, I hope nobody gets hurt with this physical practices that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quickly just snapped back to reality and was like, hey, dumbass, like, you don't want to see that. The last year really cured me of that. And I think I got out of it because Vrabel, I don't know if he was just going too ham or what, but he had so many injuries before the season started and just got me completely away from wanting physical practices. So when Brian Callahan came in with his tug of war, camp style, like real camp instead of training camp, I thought, hey, man, this is cool. This is visionary. This is smart. Oh, my God, was I wrong? And now I'm actually back in the mindset of, yes, it needs to be. I love what they've been pushing the last couple of weeks because Kuharski's talked about it and Wyatt's talked about it. More football-like reps. They're not hitting bags. The offensive linemen aren't hitting Bertha or none of that crap, Olga. None of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's more football like play, and I agree with that 100%. And if that means that a couple guys get popped, so be it. I
So be it.
mean, yeah, you got 17 weeks of getting your face popped for,
Mm-hmm.
go for it.
Yeah, no, and it was very physical. It was a good route, good ran by Carnell Tate, and
Yeah.
great downfield to play. And it just happens. You get tied up, crap happens. I mean, I really thought it was more Carnell Tate than Kevin Winston. I really thought Carnell hit more than Kevin Winston did at the play I saw. So it's very physical. They both go at it. Again, I think a lot of it too is just guys are hot, guys are winded. It's a it feels like 107 are out there today. It was
Yeah.
blazing hot. I was like, I'm done. I got back. I was like, I'm done. I'm going home. Like it's so hot out here. But no, I mean that had a part to it. Side note, Jermaine Johnson took a second to cool off because it is brutal heat out there, and especially you have all these pads and all this stuff. He's just a little dizzy, but I think he'll be fine. Physical, good work. And I'm glad you brought that up with Wyatt and Kaharski because I love to hear that. It feels like it's more physical football work. That's what we like to hear. That's what training camp's about. More physical, more football work, and all that shit on the side. I mean, that's what we like to see, Max. And it's a big positive. When Robert Saleh came to Tennessee, that was one of his biggest points. We're going to play fast. We're going to play hard. We're going to play violent. We're going to play football. I was like, I'm excited. I'm excited
Yes.
to get these boys on in pads. And one of the things, okay, I'm going to bring this up a couple weeks ago, a couple days ago. He takes crap seriously. He doesn't let things go off to the side. I know Big Jeff got a punch. He put Jeff, off the field, and instead, because Callahan, same thing happened with Jeff and Latham a couple years ago. He kept Jeff in there. So I was like, if you throw a punch, you're done like an actual NFL game. That's a good rule, right? Because you got to feel that injected. But instead of you going in the showers, you're going in the hot tub, and Saul's like, you're going to go work on the practice field. You're going to get your reps in. You're going to get your work in. And I think that's really impressive. Just to see his leadership, just to see the way how he works, just to see his way as a head coach. And I think just the guys he has around him, the leaders he has around him, I think everything is just very impressive. I'm very impressed. I'd like to see from this coaching staff, Max. This is great staff all together. So with that leadership from Saul, the guys feed off of that, Max. All these guys feed off of it. Tony Adams got injected today. I saw him on the side field, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, you're not going in and just wasting time. You're going to get your work done on the field. And I don't know if you remember, Max, when the same thing with Jeff, I had Mandarin and Harris got in a little scuffle that same practice. Saul brought the
Mm-hmm.
guys together. It's like, we need to go to work. We need to work. We need to get our crap done on the field because we have so many hours to do this and this. And, Jermaine Johnson brought it up earlier in the press conference. Like, yeah, we're getting better, but we're not there yet. And that shows that these guys are working and they're taking, they're getting great reps and they're getting good working, but they're not at the finish line yet. And that's what we like to hear because it's a work in progress. And that's what we've been saying the whole show. This team's a work in progress. And especially with, Jermaine Johnson saying that, it's like, oh, I like that comment. Sure, work in progress. You guys are working hard. We're not done yet. And that's what motivates the guys. I think Saul has been motivating the whole team around. That's what's really been positive so far.
Yeah, and you talk about he takes it so seriously. And you also talked about Aomaner's physique.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody this year looks tighter.
Yeah.
And I have to think that it's from, the dietary supplements that
The
he's
seed oils,
holding
yes.
I mean, everybody made a joke about it in the even I did. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I still reference it as a joke because I think it's pretty funny. But the point is that the man is that meticulous and
Yeah.
that detailed. He is, and I feel like, a lot of people say first round coaches that don't work out, but look at the second round when they come in. Like, there are so many coaches, their first stop doesn't work out.
Yeah.
It's because they weren't ready yet.
Yeah.
They real, and then when they get that second chance, like Bill Belichick, they
Mm-hmm.
realize, oh, okay, well, this is what I need to do differently, and this I need to try to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like Robert Saleh has come in with that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
He already's proven that he's not here for his buddies. You know what I mean? He's already proven that by subcontracting out the offense to Brian Dable, I honestly thought that was one of the most mature and best decisions that he possibly could have. I don't know. The other one is the coach that sits with him on the sideline that makes sure he's paying attention to the clock and the
I
down and
love that.
distance. And
I love that.
I mean, the wherewithal to know that, okay, I get a little bit too into the game sometimes and I miss the little things that are very important. You know what I mean? And so I'm going
Yeah.
to hire a guy to keep me informed on this. That is the kind of things that I'm talking about. That's what makes me excited about Robert Saleh.
No, I agree with you. That exactly that point right there. That I totally forgot about that until you mentioned that too. I mean, and again, you mentioned Dable, the guys he's brought around. I mean, this whole coaching staff, Max, the guys he's brought around. I mean, it's no joke. These guys all have experience.
Professional.
Gus Bradley has experience. Aaron Whitecotton. Don't let him sit around with kids because he's gonna say an F word or two, and then they think the kids get
I
traumatized.
love White
Oh,
Cotton.
I agree, and they're like, oh crap, is this actually real football? But no, just White Cotton, and I love Randy Jordan. I've been a huge fan of Randy Jordan for a while. I think with all the guys, it's a bold group of men who do a great job together. It's like the Avengers. I mean, it's with all the balls. I mean, it's all the Avengers guys with all the balls. They do a great job, and it's just like this coaching staff is just mature. They're smart. They're growing together. They all know what happened in New York. They all know what happened to all their other stops, and they're like, we're working together to make sure this football team gets back on track. And again, it's great to see that because when we hired Callahan, nobody on that staff had coaching experience like anywhere. I mean, God, it was Callahan and then Holtz, the offensive coordinator, who still
Stafford,
wonder
I
to this
think, was his best.
we still wonder to this day, Max, what the heck was he doing in the office all week long, right? But just him, and then I mean, just again, this you compare both staffs, you're just like, wow, that is impressive, and that's what we all like to see.
Yeah, huge difference between him and Saleh, in my opinion,
I
already.
agree.
But we'll see what the season holds.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2 more preseason games, and we're less than a month, ladies and
Crazy.
gentlemen. We are less than a month
Mm-hmm.
away from regular season football. I am so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, thanks, dude. I appreciate you coming on my show. Do you have anything you want to like shout out or talk about or say before you get off? Anything you want to plug?
I just want to say shout out to the Titans community, man. Y'all have been a blessing to you, Max, and everybody out there. I mean, I've only done this for gosh a year, been on the mic, and we're growing. It is amazing. I appreciate when in the chat, everybody, the Titans community on X, Instagram, everybody has been checking out the stuff. It's been a lot. It's been a huge blessing. When I moved here from California to Tennessee, I know like everybody else has in the world, sure, but I came here to achieve a goal, and my goal is to take the next step and see where I can go with Titans football because I love this team and night out and day and night out, and it's been an absolute blessing. And just meet guys like you and Scoob and everybody else. I know Scoob couldn't join us tonight, but just meet everybody. It's just been awesome. And I just want to say shout out to the fans and the community, everybody I've ran into, and all the media guys. And I do want to put in the show. Check out Titan Report podcast if you have time on X. Instagram, YouTube. I don't usually plug stuff out there, but Max told me before the show, he's like, go ahead and plug your stuff because you deserve it. So Titan Reports is where y'all can find on Titan Report _ podcast on YouTube is where you can find Spotify, same thing. We have episodes every. I'm trying to same thing with D-Max. I'm trying to get 2 out a week, so we usually have 1 to 2 a week. But just glad to be on here. Love to join shows. Love to build the community. And this is awesome. So I appreciate the opportunity you having me on today, man. Talk football was a blast. It was awesome.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I hated that Link and Scoob weren't here because it would have been a little bit more fun. But hey, I had a blast. I knew it was going to be fun. I knew it was
Mm-hmm.
going to be a really good football discussion show because you are just you're way ahead of your game, bro. I mean, like, seriously, you guys, any of my Facebook people, if you have a Twitter account or Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, go check this dude out. He's
We're
amazing.
coming on Facebook too. I'm gonna make a Facebook account. I'm coming on Facebook. Facebook, you're next. Facebook, you're next.
Oh,
I'm coming on Facebook. So I have not had a Facebook account, and then I think it was somebody California. I was talking with my family members. They're like, "You need to get on Facebook." I'm like, "Okay, I'll make an account. Sure. When I get time later this week or next week, I'll be on Facebook before the start of the season. So just be aware for that too."
Oh, cool. Sweet. Another one to follow. All right, man. So any last thoughts or anything you want to throw out there?
Dude, it's excited for this week. We have practice coming up. They just opened up one for Wednesday. If you're out there, go ahead and go claim your free tickets. I'll be there. I'm gonna try to hustle out there. Stay tuned, man. A lot of stuff's coming this week. We got hard physical practice coming. We're not there. Media fans are not there tomorrow, but look for Friday. That's where you get to see Seattle. Friday will be a great matchup to see. A lot of matchups between JSN Taylor or Lante Taylor and you can see some Carnell Tate, Heather Witherspoon, who just got paid a big fat load of chunk of cash. So you get to see some good matchups. Stay away for Friday. Friday's gonna be a very good day if you're a Titans fan. Try to request that day off of work, and then stay tuned for if you can go to the practice or not. Just stay tuned to social media because you'll be out there. And then the game Sunday, Max, are coming along, and then cut down day, and then the Bears, and then before we know it, September 13th is right around the corner. It is right around the corner. We're right here, and let's get going. So, very excited, man. Football season's here, and it's my favorite time of the year, college football. Max, our weekends are
Right around the corner.
right around the corner, right? I think some wives and girlfriends will be pretty disappointed on the weekends now because we're
That's
going
right.
to sports exactly.
Football's
So, football's back. So, yeah, stay tuned this week, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and as always, like I said, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Obviously, we
Make sure I like.
we just do this for
Like the show.
fun. But till next time, guys, tighten up. Peace out.